Guys, welcome back to another episode with AB Investments. This is going to be a very different episode because in this episode, guys, AMC Biggums, Detective Biggums, Inspector Biggums, you asked a question in your last video and your last live, and I couldn't watch the whole thing, and that's not no dig or anything. I actually will watch and finish at a later time. It's just as you can see, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here in Central Ohio, so therefore in the Midwest. So, but I heard you in the beginning stages of your live about your question, and I would like to your multi sided question, but I would like to take a shot at your question. And you said, as you claim, that no one has been able to answer your question correctly. And again, this is by no means an attempt at taking a dig or any of that, or even to take making any situation sizzle, make a community on this. I guess this double-sided community now that we have. Unfortunately, what's done is done as far as with the reverse split and the conversion. So this answers that question that it's somehow is still being asked, but it's there's no way to reverse. However, let's just talk about it. Your question, it has multi-sided is a multi-sided question. It's not just a one. It's not just one simple, straightforward question. And I would like to also say this: no one will be able to give you the answer that can suffice, except the answer that you're tailoring the question to be to come out. What do I mean by that? As you dictate every angle of that question and tailor every aspect of it so that the answer, the one and only answer that could come out, is the answer that you want to hear. And here's what I mean by this. One of your first questions was, um, oh, everybody says no, you just want to do Adam Aaron's thing, and and all that stuff. And one thing, I will put this here. Let's start with this before even diving into the question. First of all, I do not condone any degrading. I do not like any bringing anybody down. In fact, true gentlemen, true men and women can talk. Adults, real adults, can talk with each other, debate with each other, even disagree with each other without having to get either nasty with each other or degrade or bring each other down or tear each other's down. So, for first and foremost, I know I don't speak for everybody, but I speak for myself. So I'm not making this as an attempt to try to devalue you or any of that stuff. I understand you have a following, and majority of your following almost put you in a position where you have to protect the whole notion of the yes. So it's kind of a political position where even if you deep down inside don't like some of the aspects of things or any of that, and again, this is if I'm just wondering here. I understand the position that you're in and that you can't just flip all of a sudden because it would make big headlines. And who knows, that might hurt your brand or any of that stuff. But again, I hope for the sake of my sanity, I hope that you're not the kind of man who care about that kind of stuff. Hopefully that you care about your own way of how you view yourself more than how everybody else views you, or whatever other intentions, whether it's for a brand or for whatever. But again, I can't put any expectations in anyone. Do you, I do me, right? Here's the thing. Your first thing was you talked about, this is the important part. You addressed Zip Trader, and you were making fun of his lisp, and it's very disgusting. It's an unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, man, for you to be. I don't know if you're a father or not. I know that you say that. I heard that you're a husband, but what kind of I don't know. Like, is that something like, how do you teach if you do have kids? Are you gonna teach kids to talk about other kids like this? Oh, make fun of his lisp or stuff. Let me ask you this: do you think you're perfect? Do you think I'm perfect? Do I think I'm perfect? None of us is perfect. He said his opinion, what he thinks about the situation with AMC. Who are you or any of us to come and bring anybody down or attack that. Attack his theses. Don't attack him. So again, don't take this as me coming at you. I'm just being man to man with you, literally mano to mano. So if you can't take this, then that speaks a lot about you, brother. I'm just telling you the honest truth here. So you have to hear this. Whoever fills your head up and says that, or if this is the way that you go about things, then that should change in your life, bro. I'm just letting you know because you're dealing with so many different people. I'm pretty sure Zip Trader is just perfect and fine where he's at and the way he views himself. In fact, he's got so much of a bigger following and a reach than probably me, you, and all the AMC content creators combined. So hopefully that kind of side of everything can get out of the road or can be taken to the side. You know, there should be some sort of unspoken YouTuber rule where anybody who tries to any content creator who tries to degrade anybody else, that we all, no matter whether they're right or wrong, if it's coming in a wrong form, if it's coming in a degrading way and a tearingful way, you know, these people got family. We all got families, right? And they could see this stuff. So the fact that you could just fire away, not caring about the damage or the words that you throw, could become like bullets or knives in the hearts of these people who view their loved ones being tore down like this and any of that stuff. So again, I'm pretty sure you would not appreciate it when it comes toward you. And I know that many people come at you weirdly, and I know what you said that they tell you about this Adam Aaron stuff and all these other things. But again, you put out respect, you receive respect. You're always going to have a couple of infiltrators. You're always going to have some bots. You're always going to have a couple of knuckleheads that are going to come out and not act within respect. And those can be weeded out. But there has to be some sort of unspoken code between content creators where it's fine to disagree with each other. It's fine to go back and forth with each other as far as debating with each other. But this nastiness, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it happens like that. And it truly shows why we get that name of whatever dumb money or whatever, like this non, like we're not that. We got a lot more better culture, better upbringing, more harder work ethic than any of these people in the 1% class or anybody out there. But somehow some of us choose, or many of us choose, to show their nastiest side, and it's unfortunate. So I just want to tell you again, I expect you to be a role model, since you are in a position of influence. You are, whether you like it or not, you are a role model. So act like it. So, question. I know we got through a lot of minutes here to get to the question. Here's the multi-sided question that you asked, that you tailored specifically so you could get the answer that you want. The first question was, if ape was not created, for example, or if we have agreed on to dilution, then they would have not needed to do ape and whatnot. Well, here's the problem with that. That's an if. Because if I go along with your if ape wasn't created and we agreed to that dilution, to those shares, then that would have been similar to what happened in 2021. Let me remind you, and I know you remember this, but let me just remind you and all the viewers here, that AMC raised billions of dollars in a war chest. Remember the war chest that we had? Where did it go? On what? Cash burn? I'm with you on that. I totally agree with you. This is, again, the true motive of this video right here, or this message, or this talk, is, again, not to try to put you down so I could raise my stock up or any of that stuff. No, this is much bigger than that. I don't give two shits about that kind of stuff. But this is for the people, and it's more important than me or you, because it's for many of us, for the whole movement. So we had billions of dollars. Where did that go? Cash burn some of it. We paid some of the debt, like like a fraction of the debt. What else did we do? Invest in what? Popcorn? Okay, good. We will reap the benefits of this popcorn thing. Not that it will pay down our whole entire debt, but we will reap the benefits of it in these days to come. So, like in the future, more days to come. What else? A gold mine, right? Okay. A lot of people will say, man, it was just 25 million. 25 million makes a big difference. We broke 8 million this quarter, and that was huge for us, right? It's much better than being in the hole 200 million, right? Or 25 million. But let me focus again on this on the gold mine. Let me tell you a story about business 101. Being a business owner myself, ever since I was 21 and I just turned 35. So ever the day I turned 21, I have never worked for anyone but myself. And I opened and sold and closed and initiated businesses in so many different sectors. Nothing as big as a $1 billion company, 100%. I'm nowhere there. But it's the same model, same system. Running a business is the same. It's just scaling is different. Let me tell you this. Business 101. When you're in a crunch, when your business is in a time of vulnerability, every penny that you have, when they had those billions of dollars in that war chest, every penny from those billions of dollars should be invested on the what is, not the what ifs. When you get a gold mine, and by the way, here, I'm going to give you even more credit here. The gold mine could be the biggest deal in the next 5 or 10 years. It could some way, somehow, they could discover the biggest reserves of diamond and lithium in that mine. And guess what? That would do us nothing right now. But see, this is the important part about that notion is you don't have the luxury to invest for tomorrow. You need to survive today before you think about tomorrow. That's the problem with the position that we are in. So, what did he do with the money? He didn't do a good job. And that's, by the way, this is me tailoring the answer or the question so that it's not going to come out more like, hey, you just want him to come out like, you just want it to come out like he's working with the shorts or for the shorts or whatnot. I can have my own opinion, and I do think that he's doing stuff that are weird and shady and out of question makes no sense. But if I was to be very diplomatic with everyone here, which is a fair point, at the very least, his actions dictate that he's not fit to run no company. That's at the very least. If we're not going to dive deeper and say he correlated with this and he most likely did this for this, because no, technically without like some interviews here provided that he absolutely said that everybody's wrong about synthetics, there's none and all this stuff. So many narratives that could be spun here. We could say that 100% he's working with others and for other people and whatnot against us. But I'm going to be very diplomatic and say that at the very least, he's just not fit. His actions prove that he's not fit. Another thing, the debt covenant that he pushed over, a lot of people are giving him credit for. But guess what? Do you think that that was just something that was good for us? Who was that good for? And that came after all the war chest money was spent on stupid deals like the Netflix deal that he could have done better. I even gave him a suggestion last year, and I was literally the first person to give him everybody go back and look at the freaking time frame. I was telling them you should do like this was my message to Adam Aaron. Unfortunately, didn't reach. I don't have the reach that some of the other YouTubers have, and I said he should go and do a streaming deal with all the streaming services, Amazon, Netflix, Apple, Hulu, all of them, because they all have one thing in common. They're a subscription-based system or companies or streaming services. The problem with that is Every consumer can't go and subscribe to all these services. Financially, it's just not possible. To Voodoo and Vid TV and Apple TV and Amazon and Prime and App and all of those, Netflix, they can't. So, but those services, to compete with each other, they have to go and start producing something that puts them aside, that differentiates them, that makes them better of streaming service, that entices people to come to their streaming service and choose to subscribe with them. Now, for us, we don't care about that. That's their problem. But where we come into the equation is that we can benefit and they can benefit off of us. How is that? Okay, we're the apex in our ecosystem. We have the most screens. He could have easily went to each single one of these streaming services, and I know that he attempted, apparently. But I suggested this way before any of these attempts. We could go back in time and check the receipts. I'm not creating this, and many of the family in here could fact check this. And all he has to do is literally go to each single one of these services and say, guess what? You can, since you have to create movies and TV shows that are only on your platform, so people have to subscribe to your platform in order for them to get that, to watch that or to follow along with that movie ASAP. You will have rights only with AMC. Look at this. Look how big this is. Yours, like Apple, you'll have a contract with us. Netflix, you'll have a contract with us. All of them, Hulu, you'll all have a contract with us. And we will have your movie will be shown on your platforms, but for the first month, it will be put also on the big screen only at AMC. So now a person who wants to a consumer, AB, just me, is trying to watch this movie. There's big hype. They put a lot of advertisement on it, and it really looks cool. I want to watch it. It's either that I go to AMC to watch it, or I have to subscribe to Hulu or whatever subscription provider has that. Like if it was provided by Apple, Amazon or Netflix would not have it. But see, everybody will benefit because that will keep it cool for all the competitors because they're all going to do the same thing. And now it's going to come down to whoever produces the best and gives out the most that will lure the most fish, or in other words, the most consumers. Either way, they can all battle each other out. We are the ultimate winners in this whole situation. For that whole month, it's aired on our screens. We make our cut. It does not matter how the movie does. We're not paying anything for it. We're doing them a favor by casting it into our screens. Apparently, we're trying to get our attendance back, right? So it doesn't hurt us. It doesn't. He did eventually go, and apparently there was that deal that he worked out with Amazon, whether it will happen or not, whether they invest $1 billion into us. Netflix was terribly done, the way that they executed that particular side of that deal. So it's unfortunate. But again, moving on from that part now, from that segment, the gold mine, back to it right away, just for a quick bit. That money should have been invested on any company or any investment that reaps quick returns or immediate returns. In other words, let me tell you this idea or this business. We had a company here in Cincinnati, Ohio called Cincinnati Bell. It's still around, but it no longer does what it does. It used to be the main landline company, but as we know now, most of the world is on cell phones, or that's just what they were operating on now. Nobody has a landline anymore. It's very few that does. And they were the main for all that. What if I told you that Cincinnati Bell is still around? They're the main providers of the fiber optics internet. They give you 1 terabyte, the fastest internet in the country. Whew, crazy. I know all about it, but it's all here and everything. They no longer do their landline system and all that stuff, but most of their money that they make is in different investments. So Cincinnati Bell as a whole, as a company, makes more money from the side investments than its own model. It's crazy, isn't it? Now, when we had billions of dollars, there's a lot of these investments. And for somebody in an influential position like Adam Aaron, he has far more reach than somebody like you or me or any of us, and a catalog of people saying, and a team and a board that apparently is put there for a reason, right? Assuming that they're all great people. A board that is there to specifically give you which business is making what money right now in these days, in these pandemic days. What's reaping money? You can go and buy this, just like he did with the gold mine. But unfortunately, that's what proves 1000% in the business world. I don't know if you own your own business or anything, or have owned your own business, but you're talking to somebody who know nothing but business. All my life, from 21, now I'm 35, I have done nothing but, literally, I worked hard. I worked hard since I was 16, saved my money, drew my blueprints, and by 21, I followed up on my dream and I opened up my first business. And it was a phone store. 3 years later, I sold that and I opened up a cafe, a hookah bar, actually. Many of you would probably know what a hookah bar is. Then a year later, I opened up a restaurant, and then a second restaurant. And then 3 years after that, I sold the hookah bar and I kept the restaurant. Then I sold one of the restaurants, kept one restaurant open, which I currently still own, and then a coffee shop, a cafe. I dabble with so many different things. I've been trading for years. So many different things. I've opened up kiosks in some of the biggest malls here in the Ohio region. Just so I can give you an idea that like this whole business notion of what you do with every penny you have, it's important. It's crucial in the business world, what you do with every penny. You have a cash leakage. We're operating at a loss, burn. What do you think I would have done? Like, he needs to think about it instead of a CEO or as an employee. He needs to think about it like it's his own. Now, what do you think I did? You think I didn't face any troubles? God, no, every day, even until now. But the way I face them, the way I approach them is completely different. I approach it as, if I don't do something really good with this, or fix this really properly in the proper way and make the right decision here, this will affect me. Because I'm technically playing Monopoly with my own life. I don't just go to a job and I don't care about the company. I'm going to get paid at the end of the week, whether they make money or they don't. I'm going to make my money. No. If the business don't make money, I don't make money. If the business fails, I fail. That's the mindset I approach. That's not the mindset he approached. Because if that's the mindset he used, he would not be blowing stupid money on a gold mine that could possibly, with the what if, be good 5, 4, 5, 10 years from now. It may never. He would invest every penny on the what is right now. And there's many investments that he could put every single dime in that could be bringing us extra cash from the side. I'm not going to be able to sum up all 3 years here in one video, and apparently it's already running probably for a maximum for a very long time. Might have to cut it into 2 or 3 segments, even, or 4 segments. But continuing on with the questions, what else was when you said something, and here's where you tailor the question, where you say, since we didn't agree to those dilution of those shares the second time around, because we saw what he did the first time around, then he created Ape. Do you know what he did when he created Ape? The way that he the board and AMC went about creating Ape. Do you know how faulty that was? Here, let me tell you something that I tell my members in my channel, but most of the community does not talk about or know about because, again, I just don't have the reach or still don't have as much reach as many of you guys. And that's a tap on you guys' back that you guys are doing a good job at influencing people far better than I can. And I'm pretty sure you're most likely a very, very intelligent individual. In fact, you're probably much smarter than I am as a man as well. So one thing that I will tell you that the way that they went about it was completely disastrous because they went and technically put a bullseye on our back to all the shorts. You want me to tell you how? Most of the community are thinking about ape as we needed it because we need dilution. While that is true, the shorts were looking at this more like he gave them over a month. He made the announcement and said, hey, we announce the issuance of these preferred shares with addition of voting power, which preferred shares normally shouldn't have, but they snuck that in there. We'll move in past that part. And for each person prior to this record date, and they made the date, this is the bullseye moment, will have an issuance of 1-to-1 if they have whatever position they have in common equity. Do you know why that was a bullseye that he placed as a target on our backs? That was an amazing thing for shorts. Why? Because all they had to do, and I got receipts for this, go look at most of the shorts in that time frame. I'll give you one. Go look at AQR, whose CEO is the infamous Cliff Asness, the individual who's too much of an ass, that was last summer going off on us, calling us idiots, dumb money, idiots, and he dared us to come and he was shorting our stock and he dared us to come after him and his freaking AQR hedge fund. Do you know what they did in that time frame? That's a short. They went and before the record date, they loaded a record by their standards for their own company, over 600,000 AMC shares. And as soon as they got their ape shares, you know what they did? I'm pretty sure you guessed this one right here. You could tell. They dumped their entire AMC shares, affecting the price of AMC because, again, ape was derived. It was never given for free. It was derived from each single common equity share. It's derived from our market cap. They knew that we were buying and holding, so they bought those AMC shares, helped it in August and September of last year to actually rise on buying pressure. And guess what? Since they bought here and it was up here, higher, let me stay within the camera, they dumped their entire AMC shares, making massive profits. And now they got a lot of apes. Do you know? Let's put the hypothetical here. The what if. Do you think that mainly it's AMC retail that brought ape down? I know that's a notion out there, but I would like to beg to differ. None of us can prove it correctly or for sure who really dumped ape down that price, but I would like to put my money on the idea that who dumped ape was the shorts. When I know what I saw them do with AMC, just one short right there, I knew they had just them by themselves. They had over 600,000 apes at their disposal. What did they do with them? I think that they did the same thing that they did with AMC, and most likely they sold ape at guess what? 7, 8, 6, 5. Because everybody knew on Wall Street that everybody was coming in to buy and sell except us. We're the only ones who were coming into this buy and hold. Even our brokers know this. Even our brokers took our money and said, let's go and spend that on so much shit, invest it on so much other shit. Let's go invest in this and this and that. They even use our money to make themselves money. Brokers reinvest that money. It doesn't go to sleep. Do you know why they were so emboldened to do that? Because they knew those people that came and put this money with us, they're not going to come back asking for it anytime soon. Because buy and hold. They kept battling us. They kept not caring. Threshold list, FTD list, SCC this, DOJ that. Which will take us to the next part of the question. Everybody was involved and nobody's doing nothing. Apparently, we are the only people in this entire planet, just the apes, that see corruption, but everyone else is oblivious to it, including our CEO. That on record said, you are all wrong. There's no synthetics. On a record, that's true. Whether you like the source or not, that's besides the fact. He said those words. But how does that make any sense? We all believe in corruption. You yourself, you say, you call out the reason why you're here, the reason why I'm here is because we call out manipulation and market corruption. And we want market fairness. But apparently, if it didn't make any sense to you by now, or if it didn't occur to you by now, the whole world, all the regulators, all the officials, everybody, don't see anything happen. We're the only ones apparently that are seeing it. Are we technically all wrong? Is it truly? Are we all seeing a third dimension, a fourth dimension that doesn't exist, that everybody else that's not an ape does not see? We're the only ones that just see it? Because that would solve a lot of the headache that's back and forth with all the family members. But I would like to beg to differ. You know better. I know better. And while both of us are not financial advisors, and we say that phrase just enough, so I'll say it for you here so you don't have to worry about saying it. At the end of the day, we still believe and know that they are doing so much shady shit on the side. Now, it takes us on to the next question, which is the what if. Again, I'm redirecting and re-implementing the basis of your question so that it can be asked properly, so that we could actually have a man-to-man conversation. Again, this is no digs. And again, I hope you truly are not anything that anybody else say, or the way that you think and the way that you respond to this. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me how you respond. I would love for you to respond. The source that I'm coming, like from the place that I'm coming from with this, is from a place of nothing but debating, in the same time trying to open a passage for everybody to hopefully somehow forge something similar to what we used to have back in 2021. I don't know if that would be possible, if it will ever happen, if it can happen, but it's going to take more than one hand to clap. So that, I just want you to know that's where it's coming from. I'm not coming at you as in I'm coming at you. No, I'm coming to you as I'm coming at you, but not at you. The family is very, very screwed up, my friend. The family is very screwed up. And I understand there's so many people out there that say, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have over leveraged yourself, you shouldn't have done that. And I think that's a very, very, very terrible statement to say. And that's a very hypocritical statement to say, because many of the influencers and all the entire community back in 2021, for the most part of most of 2022, were all literally saying, I can't wait to get paid so that I can get more AMC and all this stuff. The general idea was to get your hands on as much as you can. It's not their fault that they came in and were right as well, and they just got swindled. You see, guys, it's already wrong to bet your whole house on something. But the truth of the matter is if you are correct, even if the mythology was wrong, you still are owed your dues. And unfortunately, this is the part where we got screwed up at. So you can't, none of us can, not you, not me, not nobody else, can point at anybody and say, you did this to yourself. You shouldn't have done that. Because that's not a statement that you or me would have made back in 2021. You know what I'm talking about. We all do. Don't let nobody hype you. And again, I know the political position that you might be in, big following. You got them used to the whole this yes motion, and that ideology that you're on is tough for you to try to even understand or try to even accept whether it's truth or whether it does make sense to you. You might just have to come out and degrade it regardless, just because of the position that you're in. And I totally understand if that's the case, but I'm doing my part, and then I leave the rest to God and the community, and to life and to the world. So again, now moving on, you have another part of the question. Ape would have been at 55 cent if Ape would have went down to 55 cent and we didn't have this yes vote. If we had the no, what would he do? He would dilute more and all that stuff. Well, the problem is, again, if you went through each single answer that I just gave you from the past, we wouldn't be in that position that he got us in, him and that board. It's the truth. Other businessmen would have done much better decisions to do better things. There's no such thing. When you're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, and without us in the equation, you can't forget this part. This is the most important recipe of the whole meal. Without us in the equation, none of the board, neither will Adam Aaron, neither his two sons would have the crazy ludicrous amounts of millions that they made off of the stock. In fact, the most they would have ever hoped for was perhaps $2 a share. Ape wouldn't even be around because AMC wouldn't even be talking here. 2021 was going to be the mass laying off of all of them. And all their shares that they had, that they get paid 3 times of their salary or 2 times of their salary in worth of shares or stock in the form of stock, all that would be in the mere thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, because that's what it was worth before we came into the equation. We came into the equation and we made those thousands of dollars worth millions of dollars. And for him specifically, over 100 mil. So that's I had to be silent for a few seconds after that because I had to let that sink in. So again, in my humble opinion, he is definitely by his actions not fit to, and he did not do a freaking good job. I do not have to support AMC and by nature, I have to also support the CEO. This is the equivalence of, okay, I'm in America. That means I gotta love our president, whichever one. Even any go back in history, there was a dictator in such and such region, whichever region. There's many in history stories that I could even give you or any of that, but I'm not gonna even have to go there. But I'm gonna give you the example. And so many regions had dictators. Does that mean in order for them to be part of that country, they have to love that dictator and all their ways of what they were doing? Look at Genghis Khan. I don't know if you read his book or you know about him and his history, but while most of his people rallied around him, but I'm pretty sure there was many that didn't like the form of all that viciousness and the craziness and all that stuff and the killing and raping and invading and all that stuff. What happened to them? They got put to the sword. Again, the point here that I'm making is that in order for me to be a true ape or to support a company that does not, I can actually support the company more by questioning the people at the helm to get the best out of them. And if they're not the right ones, then we get the right one in. That's how you get a strong company. But by being yes men or yes women and just agreeing, going along, oh, good idea, bad idea, yes. Doesn't matter. Yes. It's going to go. It's yes. That's what makes anybody, that corrupts anybody. That makes anybody corrupt. Even if they're not, it makes them corrupt. Because they know they got the rope. They can pull as much as they want. So again, now we jumping over to the part where okay, is AMC profitable, or like if it is not profitable at 55 cents, there's no shares, ape is at 55 cents, what do we do now, and all this stuff. So it's good that we did this. Moving on to this last part, you say that if we are profitable, shorts will have to cover. Do you really put your name on the line with that? All you can say is they will have to cover. What else? What else would they do? I'll tell you what they'll do. No one can force them to cover. Not no short theses. That's a myth, brother. That's a myth. I know it makes sense, but it's a myth. Nobody forces anybody to let go of all their money and their wealth and their billions and trillions of dollars just because they have to agree to a game code, like it's a game. They don't. It's not a game for them. It's a win-win for them. And if it's not, then they're prepared, and they definitely made the case, and they showed us. They've been showing us for 3 years that they don't care at what cost. They will do every legal, illegal, whatever, what have you, to make sure that they don't freaking lose. So why would becoming profitable, hypothetically speaking, this is part of my question, redirecting it back to you, your own question, but redirecting it back to you, and in a humble way, and hopefully, again, you don't think that I'm taking digs here at you. I'm coming at you. This is just debating back and forth. Hopefully, you see it that way. What makes you think that they will cover? Oh, buying pressure. I see. I'm gonna give you an answer, even if you didn't have it. Buying pressure. When we're profitable, everybody's gonna buy. Do you look and see who's on AMC since day one? Do you see how many institutes bought AMC? Go look on the Fintel. Look, such and such retirement fund, such and such bank, Vanguard, BlackRock, and we know, I personally know, what BlackRock and Vanguard do this for anyways. Vanguard and BlackRock have already made all their money many times over on it by lending those shares. Their game of how they invest is different than any other hedge fund. They're just simply go, any company out there, especially the shorted ones, go gobble up millions and millions of its shares. Why? Because it's a fisherman's method. Dump a big fisherman's net instead of a fishing rod to just take one fish out. No, throw a whole net, pull it out. Now you have a lot more fish. It doesn't matter if you're a true fisherman or not, as long as you produce more. What do? They know that there's shorts companies out there that are going to come and borrow these shares. And specifically in our situation, it's even more lucrative because they know that this thing is going to go on for years. We're not going to give up because we clearly didn't for 3 years so far and still going. And the other side is also not going to give up because no one is going to force them to go ahead and cover. So they get to benefit by lending their shares for this 3-year saga now at premiums that are ludicrous. And now I can almost guarantee that their entire investments that were put, millions of dollars, millions of stocks, in fact, on these companies or any of the stock, especially on AMC, has already been paid for, like has been reaped probably many times over. Now they could care less if they even get those shares back or not. Think about it. You have you say that they will buy and all this stuff. Well, we've been having buying pressure. This is why the synthetics and all this stuff have jumped into the equation. Supposedly there's synthetics, naked shorts, and all this stuff. So even if we were to become profitable, why wouldn't they carry on more synthetics and more nakeds? You can't. There's nothing that you could say that will 100% 100% that like there's no statement that you can make that will 100% say that they will cover. They have to cover because of duck 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 duck. There's nothing. And if you do, I implore you to please, in your response, if you're going to respond to this, to please say it specifically and in a clear fashion in a statement that if we become profitable, we will 100% have the MOAS and shorts will 100% cover instantly. If they answer no, it doesn't have to be instantly. It could take a couple of years or whatever. Then what the hell are we talking about here? Profitable or not? What are we talking about? See, what could he also do on the side? I'll tell you what he can do. I'm not going to say he should go do what Roger from GNS is doing and all that stuff, because, again, I personally don't trust that man. Doesn't matter how you view him, how anybody else that's seeing this is viewing him. But he could do a whole lot even more than that. One, him and that board could be buying a lot of shares. In return, again, it's the least they could do. We made them money they would never, ever dream. Their entire lives they worked. They would have never made. They could have lived their lives 3-4 times over and they would have not made that money. No matter what positions they would have had. The least they can do in return, and it wasn't institutes, it wasn't shorts, it wasn't fucking private equity money or anything, it was us that made that happen. The least they can do is go out of their way here and there. Buy a bunch of shares, hold them, conduct interviews, not just the trades to hype people to go buy in and then after that get lost. No. Conduct interviews with every entity, not just one with Jim Cramer or not one with just whatever his name is, the guy from Fox. I forgot the name right now. I'm too focused on something else. So like I'm talking about nonstop, like reaching out to not just Fintel. Oh, we reached out to Fintel. We reached out to FINRA. Sorry, not Fintel, FINRA. We reached out to FINRA. We reached out to NYSE. There shouldn't be this. We're some unknown forces want to do us harm. We're not the only ones that know this. Everybody knows, bro. Everybody knows in the world what the F is happening. Excuse me, it almost came out. I apologize. So the least as well that he could do besides those loading up on shares and getting everybody to get shares and blah blah blah, whatever what have you, and besides the diversifying of his shares, his board as well. He said that he talked to his board last year, remember that? So that everybody would understand that they should be more invested in the company and to be to represent the company even better, they should all hold shares. Where's that talk? He told us that last year and it got swept under the carpet. It's like they went into that meeting and walked out. Okay, good, cool. Sell order. No one gave a shit. Or that meeting never even happened, probably. He could go out there, make these interviews with prominent people, and he doesn't necessarily need to say, yeah, I know that there are synthetics and all this, and implicate himself. No. He can literally dance around the fire without getting burned. You know what I mean by that. Again, if they're doing that to my business, let me take it back to myself. If we're going to always talk about others, always put yourselves, my family, always put yourselves in their shoes, or in the example, in the hot seat first. Okay? Take it back to myself now. If there are forces out there, and there were many, I'll give you a smaller example, that try to short my business by basically try to take me out of business so they can take over my business. What do you think my response was? Go talk to my customers? Do you think I went to my customers to complain to them? Oh, there's these unknown forces that want to take me out of business. Legally, I can't say who they are because I could be sued. No. I was going to lose my freaking business. And he could have thought about it the same way. If he thought about it the same way, he would go about it a lot more personally. A lot more personally. So I took it personally. Do you know what I've done? Every attempt they were trying to screw me with and my business, or from every angle, I went and made it so much stronger. It made me act a lot more thirsty within my business. I was like, okay, I can't be taking no breaks. If it was, I remember the first one was in the cafe, in the hookah bar. Everybody wanted it. I was getting people from Texas, from people, God knows from where, from Dayton, Ohio, come and try to buy it for some ludicrous cheap prices. And all that stuff. I met most of the celebrities, basketball stars, whoever you think of, all came through the bar at some point. And everybody wanted a piece of that pie. So they tried to go to get the city to get involved. They tried to get me for some zoning. They tried to get me to screw over the building that I had over there. So many attempts, complaints to the city, saying that there's crazy shady activity in there and stuff. They just try to get it shut down so they can have a piece of it and they can have it. What did they get? Nothing. Why? Because I went at them even so much harder. And God knows at those moments I was vulnerable. These people had a lot more money than I did. And they were coming at me. At the time, I was only 23, 24. These guys that were coming at me were in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Aristotle's in the business world. I had to invigorate. I had to adapt, and I had to create new methods of survival. I had to create friends. I had to become part of the community. I had to embolden myself with the ones that mean the most to my business and to me. And you know what I mean by that. Now, in this example, who do you think means the most, or who is the person that I compare to? If this was Adam Aaron, it was in my position. Who do you think he needed to embolden himself with? Who do you think he needed to just take care of and make sure that he holds hands with, damn near? His shareholders, the retail. All the other ones, assuming that he's not in bed with them, all the other ones clearly don't want no good for him. Clearly. Obviously, unless it's the latter, it's the opposite. The opposition, that he is in bed with them. But if he's not, then they clearly don't want the best for him. They don't have the best intentions for him. So who did he need to embolden himself with? Us. Not no interview with Trace Trades, not no dividends talk or speech, because that's the best I think he have ever done. The best job he ever done was always in making speeches. He definitely gets an Oscars in my book. For speech making talent. Earnings after earnings, interviews with Kramer and freaking the Fox guy and Trace Trades. But he needed to embolden himself around us. We. If I was in his position, that's what I would have done. Because I already know at that point, if I have the majority of whoever owns the company, technically the retail, we're the main investors. We are the company. We are the company. If it was a cake, we are the entire thing, and everything else is just the icing. We are the cake. What other words? If I was in his position, I'm not going to say I would have delivered a MOAS or whatnot, but either way, a MOAS would have benefited the AMC even more. I know there's a narrative that says, oh, all retail cares about is their MOAS and they all will leave and they'll never come back. That's false. That's not true. People who never had that life-changing wealth, when they get it, it will forever be engraved in the back of their head because they will forever be grateful. They will forever remember AMC. They will forever come to save AMC and be there for AMC. Yes, they will all, most likely, a majority of them, and if not all of them, will sell, but they will all buy back. In the same time, AMC would be very powerful at that point because very rich majority base is retail and very rich. What do you think we will do? We could easily be in, if everybody is a freaking life-changing wealth that's in this movement from retail, what do you think we will do? Anything that comes up with as a hiccup for AMC, we would be there to do this. Wouldn't you, dear viewer? Not just you, even you, Biggums, yeah. Or any of you guys, anybody else who's watching this. Wouldn't you do that if that was the case? Who would not go to the freaking movies? When you're talking about 4 million or perhaps even more forever, even if they don't need to watch a movie, if they're filthy freaking rich, they can drop and buy tickets online left and right. Just they don't even need to go to the movie. They just buy the tickets and literally give it to somebody for free. Now they're buying it for people who can't buy it or who didn't even plan to go. But now they have a reason to go because somebody just bought it for them for free. But to me and you, it doesn't matter much because we're filthy freaking rich. And that's our way of giving back. We will that company to survival and beyond. I'm going to be done with all these parts now. I know for a fact these are going to be broken into parts because it's 56 minutes long. Can you imagine? Hopefully I got through. If you have any redirection, please send it my way. Again, I don't have any expectations on anyone because I know that letdowns are only happen when expectations are involved. I don't have any expectations for you, my friend. You can choose to come at me sideways. You could choose to. This will define you as what the kind of man that you are. The way that you come back. All I could tell you is that where I'm coming from to you or how I'm coming at you is from a place of debate / unity, to establish unity and somehow try to figure out a way to not only guide, but not lead, because none of us are leaders in this movement. We are all freaking apes. We are all leaders in this thing because we all make our own financial decisions. But together, we can be apes strong. Like this, we are not. And things could get much worse for everybody, not just for one or two or one side over the other. At the end of the day, if we win, doesn't matter which, we all win. And I'm always going to keep the what if. Here's the what if. AMC could still squeeze, even though my technical analysis, my personal opinion on that reverse split and that conversion is that would be off the table as far as MOAS talk. But run-ups are still possible there because some covering would happen, and that means buying back, and that means price surging. But to the levels that people would be filthy freaking rich, I just don't see that. Is there still possibility? You're talking about years down the line and all this stuff. But again, hey, I'm just answering that question, that many-sided question that was answered with so many different analogies and so many things because I had to bring you the whole background, my friend. So if you made it this far, kudos to you. Much love to all of you. Thank you for giving the time, taking the time out of your life to give to this. But again, this is a message out to AMC Biggums. If you have any redirection, whether comments or questions, give them back to me in the same manner, I would hope. If not, all totally understood. I did my part at least. And hopefully the answers suffice. If it's not good enough, sorry I took away from your time. Much love, AB Investments.